He wants to know the use of his body parts. Now let's talk about what we want to say as Semunyeti. How will you explain to this your son that place Yakususu? What is it used for?
Thank you for that question. Very important one as well. I'm assuming John is of the age maybe below 10. And as he has been growing, I've been open with him about body parts. But it reaches a point where I need to explain the functions of those body parts. So, as a parent, I know it's a big stuff, but in an ideal situation, I need to tell John that, yes, this part is used for this purpose of healing, but at the same time, remember, you are a man, and for the purpose for this body part is for reproduction. But I will also go further to explain that, of course, this is not something to experiment now, but when you are at the right age, this is when you are supposed to use this body part.
Allow me to bring ambassadors, one of the man there to bring for your question. Are you ready with your question? Yes.
Okay. Before Corona came, we were being discouraged to use technology in church. For example, there was a discussion which I was listening, and they were saying Wi-Fi should not be introduced to church since mostly the youths come and misuse the Wi-Fi by maybe chatting with their friends, and it will discourage them. So my question is it right for us to use technology gadgets for worship? Like, there are parents who may think that when I see my son or daughter with a phone like this and it is in church, is either chatting or doing illegal stuff. And maybe that person is maybe reading the Bible or writing notes about the sermon. So what's your take?
I don't know who wants to go. It's my question directed to you. Or even if you are there, you would like to help these people in the hot seat here.
Well, the question sounds tough and big. Now, let me put it this way, my son, that technology is something that we have embraced with a lot of fear. And some technologies really make life very easy, and others have become something that we need to regret. Now let me start with making life easy. When there was what you have said, when we were completely locked out as church, we continued broadcasting our programs through technology. And I recognize there are parents of my age and others who do not even have these gadgets. And I can tell you, because of that fear, we have resisted progressing from just receiving the call. But increasingly, we have found that it is inevitable that we have to have technology so that we can have different functionalities. Now, for you, it is your lifestyle, because you have been born and found that that technology exists, and actually it's very convenient. When we were growing up, the only games that we used to play were drafts, that were made of the bottle tops. Now, I wonder whether you will connect with that. You will not. So what I'm saying is that personally, if you allow me to give my personal opinion, I am not the kind of parents that would want to restrain my children from being technologically to be technologically savvy. But one thing that I would say is that just like you as a teenager, there are heights in the internet that can really ruin you as a child. And I would like to put safeguards, especially depending on the years, so that you do not access certain contents that can really destroy you because you do not have the judgment, one, and you do not have moderation, the temperament to be able to judge which content can allow you to manage. For example, there is some very violent content that can change. In fact, psychologists say that there is an age between 10 to 20 when if you get to learn to know things that those things get stuck in your life permanently. And therefore, it is really important as a parent to make sure that according to your age, you should not be able to access content that is not supposed to be for yourself.
Allow me to ask you, are you on Facebook?
Yes, I am.
And is your child your friend in the Facebook?
Yes, my two daughters are my friends.
Like they are your friends?
Yes.
Wow. And Mama, are you on Facebook? Yeah. Instagram? Wow, so you're enjoying Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram?
Yes, I think, let me say this, that I have had a discussion like this with my daughters about their participation in social media.
Yes.
And we are relatively young parents, although we are old, in terms of that. So I would like my children to publish responsible content in the social media. And by me being in that media, and she is my friend, it also restrains me from publishing content that I cannot be comfortable
So the
about.
question he also asked, is it wrong now to use his phone in church as the Bible songbook, like most of the teens nowadays, they prefer not to walk with the Bible, but to have a phone that has all those. What would you advise this son as your son? Would you ask them to carry the gadgets, leave the Bible and the hymn, or just to use the technology?
Okay, maybe my answer would be like, I would not want to prescribe, but I would like him to use the information that I've given him to be the one that will guide him to use the gadget or the Bible. Now, let me put it this way, that by being ashamed of carrying a Bible, it means that you are not proud of the faith that you profess. And therefore, there is need for me to inculcate the fact that the faith that you are deeply knowledgeable and proud to be a Christian. Number two, the gadgets that you have has a lot of instructions. Those instructions that will be in form of WhatsApp messages that will be coming from wherever the news and all the pop-ups, and some of them might take away your focus from the truth that you want to study. So it is upon you to use the most convenient thing, but the most important message to you is that you should try to desist from distractional activity.
Now, allow me to give this girl, ma'am, get ready. It's okay.
My first question is, how can we children use electronic wisely at home?
Yeah, ma'am, I think now, ma'am, she's asking because at the age, CBC is coming up with laptops, Wi-Fi learning at home. Now she's asking, how can they use electronic wisely? Wisely, now you can give them that advice.
Okay, assuming that is she's asking for her age.
Yes.
Yeah, I will, if you are not wrong, she's how old are you? 8, so she's under 10. And then we can say she's ignorant of many things that are happening in the world. But here they've been introduced to the world of electronics. They are supposed to research on the internet and get answers to the assignments they are doing in school. So it's our responsibility as parents to give guidelines on how these children need to use these gadgets at home because they don't know. So we need to alert them that these gadgets are purposely for academics. And if we must allow them to have any entertainment, it should be either regulated or supervised. Because these children, even if they are under 10, they are very intelligent, especially with the technology. So the moment they finish their homework in 30 minutes, they'll have an opportunity to explore. And they get to sites that maybe are not good for them, beyond their age, and they are vulnerable. There are people out there who are looking for such innocent souls. So, as children, we need to listen to our parents when they tell us how to use those gadgets. If you're doing your homework, do it and inform your parents that you finished this homework. If you must play a game, can you ask, Mom, can I play a game for this few minutes? And as parents, we need to be alert. If we give 20 minutes for games, it has to be 20 games. If we allow loopholes, if we let our children know that at the moment I finish my homework, I can watch a game and mom is not even aware I can do something else, then we are getting them into trouble. So strictly be alert, give guidelines, and be there to guide them on how they use this. And for children, when you are guided that you shouldn't visit any site, obey, because we have enemies out there in those gadgets that you're using.
And also still on you, because nowadays parents are really facing hard challenges to fight with the gadgets with their children. You reach at home, the first question, Mom, give me your phone, or Dad, give me your phone. Now, what can you advise the parents? Because some of our parents may leave the phones, whatever they have put inside those phones in the gallery, are not good for the children to see. Now, what can you talk to the parents who are listening to you, who are watching to you, so that they can also safeguard what their children are seeing on their phone or on their computer?
Thank you for that question. As parents, we really need to be responsible with the gadgets that we have, of course. Sometimes as parents, we are using those gadgets to drive our children because we don't want them to be bothering us around and saying, you can have that phone so that I can do something else. So I think, especially now that we know so much content is being shared. You might not be the owner of that content in your phone, but your child will open and get to see things that they are not meant to see. I think we can put also measures in the way we use our phones and how much we allow our children to access from our phones. Maybe from the congregation we can have a comment. Must our children get our phones? Must we give them our phones? And what do we give them our phones to do?
All right. It has been brought to you. You can help to answer that question. Must our children use our phone? Even they know those passwords. We try to put password. They know they can do that. Who is ready to help from the audience? Even you can write a comment via Facebook or YouTube or whichever Zoom we are in. You can write a comment and then our technician can read for us your answers. Anybody in the church who wants to help our children or parents? Wow. You're not facing just come. Thank you. You can just come. And the viewers who are watching, please write your comments. We want to get your comments. We are having really live question from Sabaki, Central SDA Church. Questions, challenges that are facing our teens and our young ones. We have our ambassadors, we have youth. We welcome you in case you're joining us, wherever you are watching us from any part of the world. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for this. I would like to comment on. Yeah.
Closer to the microphone.
So I can advise young girls and boys, they work hard so that they can buy their phone. The parents cannot give them the keys to drive the car without driving license. Please keep off from our phones. It may sound strict, but during our time, we could not talk with the parents, even the chairs. Am I right? Am I right? And with that, because of that, we are here in the church. Now, and I don't want to take you back to that era, but we should have measures in the home. Respect the parents, respect the property. My phone is my property. Am I right? Am I right? Yes. That's why you can see people are storming everywhere. You burn the school, you do everything. You want to have my kids. Work hard, children. Work hard, work hard, work hard. You get the gadget that you want at the right time. At the right time. I have things in my house, and I'm very strict. What do you want to do with my phone? I'm in business. I have customers. Don't start with my affair. Okay? Children, listen. Work hard, work hard. You can request for a phone. It will depend. Am I supposed to give you at this time? Because you cannot come from school, you sit down, you just want my phone. You have not done your homework, you have not eaten, you have not made your bed, and you want my phone. So parents, let's agree on one thing. Our phone is ours. If I give you the kababe, use it for communication, okay? If I give you the smartphone to do the homework, you do the homework and you give the phone back. My point is work hard, work hard, work hard.
Wow. Things are down for you.
Okay, yeah, as parents, we need to set goals and measures and restrictions. If you're giving your child your phone, for what purpose you're giving that phone? You've seen in the WhatsApp messages, some images pop up, a family with photo, and then somebody apologizes that, oh, it was my child playing with my phone. And sometimes this child can expose, you can send a picture that would embarrass you in your group. So again, some of these images, they come to your phone and you may not be aware that the child has also forwarded it to another group. So you may not have control of the content that is in the phone when it comes to the child accessing your phone, more especially these little ones. And what they see in the phone, that's what they believe is done. Maybe it might not be the right content for the age of that child.
Thank you. I want also to advise the young people and their parents. Nowadays, we are seeing children joining Illuminati using the phones. There's some things they pop in, especially those who have the smartphone. You can see there's some kind of trying to persuade them that they join. Or it's kind of a game, right? It's kind of a game. I don't know how many parents have seen that there are people that are watching or they're playing some kind of game. I've just forgotten the name of the game. It was another game which used to come in the phone. Is it somebody else who's got the name? Can somebody help us? If you're saying something, you get, we are helping one another. Yes, just come and share. Yes, come and share so that we help one another. There are parents who are not aware. Yeah, we are not aware about Illuminati through our phones and other things.
Happy Sabbath. There was this game which came about 2 months ago, which some kids were using playing with pencils. 2 pencils and then they have cardboard and Charlie. I think you put just the pencils and then you put the name 3 times and then it starts to play. You can ask the teacher, can you do this? Can you do this? And then they put you. For instance, they take your mind away. You can even start seeing some questions like, can you kill your friends? Can you kill your family member? And then it gets out of control and you're recruited.
How many have seen Charlie in their phone or in the phone? Yes. Yes, we are helping. How many have seen it? Charlie. Yes, you see parents. Parents, how many have seen Charlie in their phone? Even your already knows this Charlie. Now, let me tell you, you have been absent in your children, now you need to know. Some of the children are being recruited into Illuminati through using your phone and you don't know. So, whatever we are talking here, please take it seriously. Take it seriously that your child can even be recruited through technology, WhatsApp or Facebook. They have this issue of, is it called pen what? Pen ball. Parents, you know what's a pen ball? You know what's a pen ball? In your tradition? In your time, what is that? Now, a girlfriend, somebody gets a girlfriend or a boyfriend from another country without, and that's why even I ask, how many parents here, their children are their friends in the Facebook? Most of the teens we have around here, they will not accept you to be their friends. Reason, they know you will be checking whatever they want. They're seeing. And that's why they will not feel comfortable for you to be their friends. But young people, let me tell you, listen to what your parents are advising you. They are not against using technology. They are controlling you because you don't know there is what Charlie. and you start playing those games, you start being recruited, you will not be found even some children dying. Allow me to bring you to ask you a question.
What is child abuse and how can we stay away from it? What is child abuse and how can we stay away from it?
That one was to Daddy. Daddy, you can, what is child abuse? They hear this word child abuse, and how can they stay away from this child abuse?
Well, child abuse, I would say, is a very wide area. And in a basic way, let me say, there are different types of child abuse. There can be emotional child abuse. There can be physical child abuse. There can be psychological child abuse and all that. Now let me put that very, very in a very simple way. Child abuse is, physical child abuse is where a child is punished, for example, in a way that is not loving. So that you end up finding that you have ended up hurting a child in the process of trying to punish that child. The other one, which is psychological abuse, is where you are probably torturing your child by the way you conduct yourself, or neglecting that child in a way that he or she does not feel like she is supposed to be a child. And this can be, for example, the way we do not have time for our children, and we do not get to meet their psychological needs. Now, there are other forms of child abuse, which can be emotional, where we are using abusive language and so forth, so that the child gets hurt by the words and the way we treat them. So, as a child, let me just go a step further to explain that as a child, you can get destroyed when you are going through that child abuse process. So it is important that our children get to know, because this child abuse can be from parents, relatives, or the people that they stay with, and even in school. And so it's really important that our children are trained so that they understand, so that they can be able to tell. Bullying is one of the child abuse, so that they can be able to tell the parents or responsible guardians, so that they can prevent that progressive.
Thank you. I don't know for first that after I come on the mic. The children are asking, how can they stay away? Just let me just stand there. How can they stay away from this child abuse? And especially, as you are answering the question, there is this family, a mother entered into a marriage with a girl that was from a different family. You getting my question? So as this girl was growing, it happens the father wanted his girl. They were staying in 10 by 10 house. The mother and the dad was threatening the girl. If you happen to tell your mother, I will kill you. So the son here is asking, through the expert, we have been told there's psychological, there's physical, and social. Now the question is, I know there are some cases, parents, especially mothers, since they don't want to be close with their daughters, maybe some are being abused because here said it can be done through parents. Some of them are being abused by their father. some of them are being abused by their mothers. How can they stay away, especially these our ambassadors? How can they stay away from child abuse? Imagine this is your father who has turned to be a monster, or your uncle, somebody you are supposed to respect as an uncle, a relative. He wants to rape you, he wants to do some physical abuse. Now, as a father, you are our elder, talk to your children.
I think there is no very direct answer to that question, because it also depends on the magnitude of the problem. Because in some cases, you find that this abuse has not just started. It is something maybe that has been gradual, has been happening for quite some time, and probably there are signs that the abuse is going to a level where you cannot manage it. I think my humble advice and opinion is that while this is happening, if the child is not able to take this up or sees that it is going beyond, one of the things that really has to be done is for the child to talk to a leader in the church. Could be the leader in the children ministry, could be a deacon, or whoever that the child will feel comfortable to share the problem. Because if the child continues to stay with the problem, the child will not think on how to get out of that problem. The first thing is sharing, because sharing this information, then you will be able to get some guidance on how to go about it. Otherwise, if you keep it to yourself, you will continue going through the abuse. You will not have shared with anyone. People will think that you are fine when you are not. And the other thing which I wanted to share is, I was, I think, in one of the TV programs, a case like that, and I liked what the child was saying, because they were being interviewed on that program. The child said, it was a she actually, she identified someone from the family, an aunt, who was able to listen to her, and then the aunt took the case to the church. And then the bishop, who was actually in the same program, now took over in trying to take steps on how to support the child. So what I'm trying to say is that as much as you are growing, as much as you probably are not free with your father or is threatening you, you need to find someone close in the family team who you can be free to share that information. And when that information is shared, you are able to get the assistance that you need. And as a church, I also want to say that as a church, having ways in which the children can express themselves will help in supporting, getting a counselor, and many other ways that the child can do.
Thank you so much. Yes, I can see now the action is coming, and that is very good. These children are asking very honest question. And by the way, by the time you find your ambassador or real-time cornerstone, one day one of them was telling me, my father cannot believe me, or my mom cannot believe me if I said my uncle wants to do such a thing to me. In fact, my mom will beat me for having mentioned that now. Mzee wangu, tutasaidiaje hawa watoto, kwa sababu wazazi wamekataa jukumu yao, wamekataa their responsibility, na watoto wetu wanaumia, wanakuwa abused.
I think that from where my senior, my pastor was saying, he dwelt mostly on how to prevent, how to put yourself on that position. I just want to start by giving examples. You are 10 years old and you are a shamba boy somewhere that is child abuse. You are 30 years old and you are seducing a girl who's 14 years old that is child abuse.
Wow.
you are a stepfather or an uncle, and you are sexually inappropriate with a minor, that is child abuse. So we need to tell our children that this is your body, this is proper touching, this is improper touching. So if a house girl is asking their 10-year-old, for like give example of 7 years old, to be able to have sexual relationship with them, or to have touching body inappropriately, that is child abuse. So one way in which you can go to learn is to tell our children that this is the body, your body, this is the body. You have proper terminology. If it is a vulva, this is a vulva, this is a vagina, this is a penis. You give them the proper name. Not
That's
to
great,
do,
that's great.
not to do, and not to do. We need to move to the point where we tell our kids, this is the biological name of this thing. It is used for this purpose.
Wow.
And I know sometimes live in a world where sometimes you have to live in 10 by 10, but at least we need to be actually in private so that they want to know. When you are dressing up, you need to be a private affair. So it's not about dressing up, she's 10, and an uncle is sitting there watching over. This is what's going on. You need to know that they are, in Swahili say, same. This point from here to here, this is private property. You cannot put your finger in, you cannot put your main organ in, that you cannot touch somebody's bum, to use that expression. And you cannot also use your sexual organ in the mouth of a child. So we need to let our children, this is proper touching, this is improper touching. So once you have those facts, then I shall know somebody has crossed the boundary or somebody has not crossed the boundary. Also, when it comes to our relations, like we are soon going on to community, the next situation, we need to make sure that we break the way these NGOs that deal with children, or child protection and so forth. They make sure that they look at your background to see, do you have any issue to do with child abuse in your past, so that we will not employ you in an environment where you have children under you. Same applies to the house of the Lord. If we have children department, we need to make sure that people we put in there are vetted properly to make sure that we do not have that kind of environment in the house of the Lord.
Wow.
Something else, we need to believe our children. Chances, unless they're pathologically having a problem, 90% of them, if they tell you so and so inappropriate touch me, believe them. So once we move from a point of believing them, then you know how you can be able to handle it. Having trust that a child is coming to you, saying, somebody crossed the line sexually with me, so I need help, or now I can be able to sort it out. And then once that comes up, we need to have a safe environment where a child can ventilate the issue, sort it out in a very safe environment, so that it doesn't become BBC or CNN. I'll leave you.
Ella said something before I give you. We entrust our children with teachers, some of them we don't know their background. And one of the qualifications you choose teachers is those who can play with them. I was told in one of the churches that one of the teachers, this is a male teacher, in our faith, was sodomizing one of the boys. In fact, it was so painful, and the father was a policeman. And now how did he come to know the son was having a phone? And this was a teacher, he was one of the teachers of Pathfinder. He could call the boys in their home and give them something, and then he does that sodomy thing. Now the parent got the phone, like the male teacher was kind of treating the boy like a girlfriend. Now, parents, are you waiting until such a thing happened to your son? There is lesbianism, there is another one called what? Homosexual. And it is really happening in our church today. Do you really vet those teachers? Have you put safe measures that you can talk to your children to the extent that what my elder said here, that if you see somebody who wants to touch you, even see those teachers, they want to have the PowerPoint and the real time, their breasts have started to come out, and then we get these teens teachers, the young teachers, they take a photo, they touch one another, and us as mothers, And fathers, we are just sitting doing what? Watching. When I was growing up, we used to go to our grandfather's home, Kulelala. We could sit with Babu, and the ladies could sit with Nyanya, and we could be taught morals, values, how to sit, how to talk with them. Nowadays, even mothers saying, your dad is going to be an ambassador. She just come and sit at the laps of your husband. I mean, your husband is a man. Hello, mothers, you're refusing to talk. When are you going to sit with your daughters and tell them now you need to respect your father? If you want to greet your father, this is the proper way of doing what? Hello, mothers. You don't want us to talk this thing. Are they even happening in our church? That is the time you find fathers are raping their daughters. Uncles are raping their daughters because this child she's so innocent. Anajua huyu ni yangu, kumbe alikuwa ametaka kukua nini? Beasts. Mothers, are you really failing? I want you to pick it from there. Are you really failing your duty? But I see that you wanted to say something. Maybe a quick 1 minute, then I give, because this is about so many questions.
Yeah, I think that is a very touchy question that all of us need to be aware of. I only wanted to add something that sometimes we as parents provide an environment for child abuse. For example, when you have relatives, male relatives, sleeping in the same environment or being housed in the same environment with your girl children, you know, we are actually creating an environment when you are not there for some of these things to happen. So if you have a way in which you can stop this, facilitating this, the better. The second thing is, as a church, we need to train ourselves and even the parents some of the vital signs of abuse. One which is very common is if you see a child wetting the bed or wetting himself, that is a clear sign that there is undergoing some psychological distress that he or she might not be, you might not be aware of. So getting to know these things are the critical signs of child abuse is important, and being able to educate the children on how to escalate those.
Allow me now to be the ambassador girl to shoot. I know you still have comments, but let's hear them. Today is their day and they have questions, and I hope we will answer all of them. Welcome.
Thank you for the opportunity. Dating back in the 19th century, women and girls used to wear short dresses, short skirts, and as we all know, history repeats itself. And today, designers decide that the hemline should not reach beyond the knee. They should be above the knee and a little below the bum for increasing what goes on, what is in the trend now. And this brings me to my question. As a Christian, growing up as a Christian, is it okay for us to wear the short skirts, to wear the short dresses, now that even you in your era, you guys used to wear the short dresses and the short skirts?
Wow, that is in your era, you hear the question. When they look at your album, they see you wearing green skirts. And nowadays, if they also want to show their legs. Okay, ma'am, what do you say to their daughter?
That's a tough one. I will need to ask for assistance from the congregation. Also, myself, when I look at my mother's photos, they were worse than what she's talking about, because for them they used to cover somewhere here, and the rest of the body was out there. And there were no incidences of rape and all this that we hear about.
Okay, now to the ground.
Now, to the ground.
To the ground, help.
Okay, just before I...
Who is answering so that we see who is answering? Okay, be coming as you say something.
Yeah, so considering the era or the times we are living in and the things that are happening around, so there are those things that we call the causal effects, what leads to the other. And the world has given a culture that is different from what is in the church. And when we read, the Bible tells us, I cannot exactly quote the verse, that in everything that we do it in the glory of God. And if your dressing to the church is going to cause any of the church goings or the church program or the way the people are going to behave in church, behave differently from what is expected to, then we need to stop that. So if you think your short skirt is going to have an impact on the way the church is going to run, the sermon is going to run, then that is not going to be in the glory of our God. So that is why we will not want to encourage ourselves to behave like the world, because we are bringing the world into the church, and then that is going to interfere with our relations with our God and the way Christians are going to behave within the church. Maybe I'll comment after Valerie.
Yeah, she has come. I don't know where to debate you or to.
For this question about the era of the short cut, I think it's because of understanding. Like in your era, long ago, you had stronger morals or stronger moral values than what's trending now. I think the matter of self-control and things like that was better than what we have now. That's why if you wear a short skirt now, it will be a statement saying that it will be a statement for other people to know that you are
Okay.
So moral standing is the main cause of why we should not wear
Oh. Thank you. Even if your Bible verses, we will really appreciate. You are done? Or yes, continue.
I have a question.
You have a question, shoot.
Okay.
You know those questions?
Why just there are questions like why do you adults tell us to act as adults like
Why did you tell them to act as adults, yet you treat them as children? You want them to act as adults. Did they get you correct? And they treat you like? Example?
Let's say I am coming to school and you're late, you've not come to school. So maybe you've forgotten. So being the way that maybe it's late and I have to go and I don't have a phone on me, I'll say to take my cell phone, this is a walking distance. But as soon as I reach home and then you come back in the evening, you start telling me, why did you leave school? Maybe you are angry at me for leaving school, yet I did the most adult thing to do was to take myself home. Knowing that I knew the way home.
Yes, I like that. All right.
And I knew that if you can't be in school, if you can't be in school, you would scold me again for not thinking like an adult and take myself home.
These guys are very good. Thank you for that one question. You can sit or you want to hear the one respond. All right, you can sit now before you comment. Parents, she has made a good comment saying that in your time, the moral standard was a bit high. Is it true? Do you want to agree people you could wear miniskirt but you are, because mom was trying to defend that rape cases was not there. People moral was good. And she said that in this 21st century, the moral behavior has become sit down. People are quite moral. Now, can you react to this question very fast? And then I give Elder to give some passes. Elder has opened some passes.
Well, I think thanks, Valerie, for that contribution. I think there is much truth in that because I always ask my mother whether they had these incidents at their time that would prevail because of the dressing code that they had then. But she says they were not. And even currently, I see tribes that dress so.
Like Maasai.
The Maasai, I think
the people from South Africa,
yeah. So we have more cases of rape in those tribes than we do in the current situation. So that is why I say I agree with Valerie that the moral, the society moral decadence, we call it, in that we have, I think, watched so much out there, the movies and everything, and we associate anything, any naked body we see with the sexual immorality. I don't know, maybe I would want to hear.
Let me ask you. Why do ladies who want to sell their body, I don't want to name the town, but you know the town in Nairobi, they dress in mini skirts. Why don't they dress in a long skirt? What is it that they have to put on short skirts and they have to leave the milk of the baby of the nyonyo outside?
I think that is theirs. That is what they realized is their selling point. Because the movies that people watch, that is the selling point for the men.
Before Elder comes, who has not talked, who want to say something? Who want to say something to release our young people? And others, I thought you were coming back to help. Are you really happy? Okay, come. I want it to be all inclusive so that you don't say it was Elder, so and so Elder knows the Bible. We are giving advice to our young people because they are asking genuine questions. If you don't tell them, where will they get the answers?
Maybe I would first say that this is for our children. But like they say, you don't come with a manual. And we also did come for our parents with one. Implication is that we make mistakes. Hopefully when we make mistakes, we learn from them. And so there are questions that you ask yourself, and we also look back and see that we actually got it wrong. So that is to assure you that it's not always the case that we know exactly what to do. Number one. Number two, there are different markets. I don't know for the children, I want you to understand this. There are different markets. There are different wares and the different standards those markets require. It's a decision that the seller makes which market to go to and what they want to buy from that market. Now, as Christians, our market has to be different. In other words, if there is a market that demands short dresses, if we feel that it is inappropriate for us, and it should be inappropriate for us, we don't have to sell there, and we don't have to buy from there. Number three, on what the society accepts, it is best if the society as a whole defines it. If we let men define what length of skirt they have, and all that women do is to supply, there's something wrong. I don't know if we are together. But, and that has been the case. That's why we defined miniskirt long ago. We decided, no, they are all now putting on miniskirts. Let us define something different. It's because we set the demand, and there are people who try to meet us with the supply. We as Christians might not have to supply in that market. The other one is setting examples. You see, if my wife puts on miniskirts, and I'm okay with it, I have to be okay with my daughter putting on. I mean, we are not going to talk about what we don't like and do exactly what we don't. We confuse children, I guess, when we do. We only confuse fellow adults when we do that. So my thought is that practically, if we are supposed to let our children learn some of these things, let us lead by example. If your mom's dress is always below the knee, it should be very easy for you not to have yours above the knee. Is it number 5 now? Times have changed. And today, I sympathize with people who bring up the boy child. Because if you read the court processes that happen, they get themselves into problems that they have never been taught how to avoid. So the boy child. But my girl has a clothes way beyond her knee is not invitation. It's not an excuse to the behavior that you allow below that. It's her problem. Let her deal with her. Don't go to her looking for your own problem. So when you get it, it's never easy. And if you have heard the court case and you hear what they say, we didn't know. It was good thing. You know. So the shortcomings you see in the girl are not an invitation for you. You're not going to be the judge of how appropriate or inappropriate she is. Keep your moral. And that is why we had a similar conversation with my friends in a school group. And the argument was that we increasingly have to tell the boy child what is not his responsibility. You're not going to solve the world's problems. Deal with your own problems. The fact that they are in school, for example, and you feel like, no, this one's addressed well, this one's up to a moral. It's not your work to beat them up. Your work is to grow and become an adult. If you realize that decadence, and you see, we have an opportunity, boys child, especially from the church, to define what beauty looks like. If the demand side of who are dressing is low, the supply side will disappear. It's the same thing with, say, treating women badly from cultural practices. If today every man says they are not marrying a woman that is circumcised, will it happen? No, because there will be no market. But because we have hit the market, and then come and hide behind the scenes like we are never the buyers from this market, the trade card is gone. And so you have FGM because men have not come out to say we don't want FGM. We all came out to be a thing of the past. So ours as a church is to deal with What we don't think we subscribe to, we don't encourage.
Let me just, I'll give you, come and ask you a question because time is also running out. So that now when they come, they can answer them very fast. You can shoot. Just hold on your comments so that we allow the children, they don't go back with the question. Maybe we are helping a child somewhere or a mother somewhere. And if there are comments on social media, you can also tell us so that, is there some? Okay. Somebody can put a comment and we can read off.
My first question is, how can I be faithful to God and my family? I think, how can I be on the same side with both God and my parents?
How can I
be on the same side with both God and my parents?
Wow. I think that one is very bad. You can answer that one. Come again.
How can I be faithful to God and my parents?
How can she be faithful to God as same as the parents? And then, do you have anyone? Yeah, you can ask all of them.
Maybe to help them, the question is in relation to if there's a divergence between what your parents want and what God wants, how do you handle that?
Yes.
That's the question.
Yeah, that's the question. Thank you for understanding the how can these two and let you also see your
Parents, I want you to explain what is obedience to God. Is it in the 10 Commandments only? As in, when your parents have sent you to buy cigarettes or beer and you refused, is it being disobedient to your parents?
Okay. Now we tell them children obey your law. Okay, and then the parents, one parent, I believe if I get her correctly, maybe one parent is a believer, the other one is not a what? A believer. The other one says, one buy for me cigarette. And she refused. This guy is asking on behalf of the other children who are suffering. Mom, which one do you want to go both or one? Just brief so that you get more.
We go with the first one. How can I be faithful to God and to my parents? Okay, from what the Bible teaches us, faith, if we are talking about Christian faith, faith starts from home. So as parents, what we are doing, what example are we showing to the children? So when they come to church and learn that we need to love one another, does that happen at home? So the conflict comes when the things we do at home conflict what we say we believe in, on the Christian way of doing them. So as from the child point of view, we expect that as parents we need to guide the children by word and by action. So that what we say, we emulate them so that we do not create that conflict between what our Christians should behave and what we say we tell our children.
Thank you. Now you can give the second one. Is it only the 10 Commandments? And what about the issue of cigarettes and beer?
Well, I will allow the class to also comment, but my brief answer to it is that faith is when there is conflict between what God is commanding you and what your parents are commanding you, then being faithful to God is text precedent. In fact, in Ephesians, it is in Ephesians 8, where the Bible says, children obey, this is in Ephesians 6, where the Bible says, children obey your parents and yeah, in the Lord. So it is not obeying like in a blanket manner, but I'm mindful that there are certain age in which this is not possible to be able to execute. And I would just say that
would you advise them to refuse to go to buy cigarettes or beer?
That's what I was actually coming to, that there is an age in which it's not very easy to implement that disobedience. And that is why the regulations of the land come in. For example, a child cannot be able to purchase beer if he or she is not more than 18 years. However, it is that home is a potential ground for evangelism. So if such things are happening and a child is involved, that's when you can be able to report to an elder that there are things that my parents are making me to do, and I think it's not right for my God.
Let me come back to you. We have exhausted all your questions. Can you have one? Okay. Can you ask?
Okay. It is the wish of every parent to see his or her child succeed in life. And while at school, it is your expectation for your child to be the first. If you realize, if you notice, like for those who are from school, they hate their past friend. Maybe if they have not performed, because they know that when I get home, they ask my performance, and I may not have achieved to their expectations. So, and those same parents, if you dare to ask them about their past academic performance, it may either land you in more trouble or some other things. So, my question is, why is it that you pressure us to be the first, whereas you cannot even explain your
past records?
Yes, and my second question is about the careers. Evangelist, you have said your son is a lawyer.
Yes.
Is it from his own will, or you are the one who calls him a lawyer?
Wow.
Then, I'm not.
Yes. Not all the questions that we have important in mind also.
We are born differently. Yes. There are people who are born to maybe succeed through academics, and there are others who it is their talent, who through their talent they succeed in life. And you'll find a certain parent, like maybe the child has engaged in, let's say, co-curricular activities at school. And so when he brings the results home, you're like, wewe kazi yako ni gani? Na kutuma shule ukasome, kazi yako unaenda huko games. Unaenda kucheza ball and acting and whatever. Yet, that talent that child is nurturing, it might help him. Because you can force a cow to drink water if he does not want. Maybe that child is at school because he has to be there.
Because of the burden.
Yes, the others who are passing time at school. Whereas they know I have this talent. I mean, they have big minds, but some parents narrow the minds of their children to a certain path. So how can you also address that?
What I did you Mine was asked why I call my child a lawyer. By the way, I sat with all my children and I asked them, the idea they can learn in business. I asked them, what do you want to be? And my firstborn told me clearly if he wanted to be a lawyer. And from that childhood, he has stick to that, wanting to be a lawyer until today. My second one, Emmanuel, first he started by saying, I want to be a president. And at some extent, he saw president retire after 10 years. He gave up on being president. Then he came up, Dad, I want to be an architect. I took him to some people who do architect work. He saw this thing of drawing, it can't work. Then he got interested in being a computer engineer. I took him to one of his uncles, that's the work of computer, because I was trying to identify their talents. So here I was doing the supporting. So right now he's doing well in computer engineering thing. And he's the one who fixes for our church the OBS and runs some of the net there. My girl Angel just told me I want to be a doctor and a pediatrician. She's specific. She wants to be a pediatrician. There's a day she took me to the doctor and I was having a toothache. So akauliza daktari, I want to be a doctor, but I want to see how do you remove that. So I said, my dad, when I grow up, me, I want to be. So I just said, okay, fine. So I went and bought those gifts for zile za watoto za daktari, za kupima, heart. Kameanza kucheza nazo. So to me, I have not forced any. I am just supporting. Like my son, I always tell him, listen to court cases, you can watch these movies. And this uncle who is a lawyer who inspired me of becoming. To me, my profession is different with what, me, I've ever wanted to be a lawyer, but I ended up being an insurance. And the preaching was in me since childhood. So I wanted him to be a pastor. That was, if you ask me and the mother, what we were praying is for him to be a pastor, but he said, no, I don't see pastor. Now, very short.
Okay, let me go for the first question about how we handle our children when they bring results from school. Okay, allow me to advice from a professional point of view. I'm a trained teacher, and he mentioned that children are different. Of course, that is very true. Children have different abilities, and they are talented differently. As parents, of course, we always expect the best from our children, regardless of whether we did our best or not. We wouldn't want history to repeat itself. So, more especially if we didn't perform, we even work harder to make sure that our children perform. And we do that in a positive way. It's out of that change we want to make that we do that. But all that said, when our children come home with their results, first of all, as parents, we need to appreciate the effort that they've made. And the way we handle their performance will either destroy them or develop them. For example, if the child comes home from boarding after staying for 2 months or 3 months, and Immediately she arrives home, even before she takes a cup of tea, you ask for her results. And then you find them disappointing. And then you start lecturing her how you're paying so much school fees for her in a very good school and she's not performing. You'd rather take her to a primary. So, the impact that will have on the child, and if you do it once, twice, then the child will know, okay, I'll go home and get this scolding and life will continue after all, I can't come home. So, as children are different, we need to encourage them, even when they have performed poorly, we can encourage them and tell them that they can do better. And as parents, we can make an effort to find out if you know your child can do better than that, then why did she do that or did he do that? We can get in touch with the school and also try to find out. For example, if the child has dropped drastically, the child was doing well, you need to find out what is happening in school that they have contributed to this. Because in school, things happen. She could be bullied from other children or even the teachers themselves. So that understanding is very key. And then we need to encourage them. Each time they even add a point to what they previously had, we can improve their performance and also give them confidence even to work harder. But as children, we always want to show you that we were the best in our schools when we were in school. And that's what you should know anyway.
Would you be comfortable to share your academic performance with your children? Would you be transparent and say, in Form 1 I used to get this, in Form 2 I used to get this, freely? Because all parents, they always say I was number 1. There is no any other parents, and why is it I was last in class? Would you be comfortable?
I wouldn't mind.
Now, what about you, Dad? Would you mind?
Let me say this.
Will you, first of all?
That's the answer I'm giving, that throughout my school life, I was never number 1. So I've never tested that position. But that doesn't mean that not being the top, you will not be successful.
Okay.
In fact, there are many people who are very poor in university who got even passes, but they are the ones who are leading this country.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me just answer one of the questions that I asked, which I find a very interesting one. You answered illustrating it with my friend. My friend we used to live with outside the country, where he actually told his son that when you go to A-levels, you go and choose math, physics, and chemistry. And what the child did, he went and chose PE, martial arts, and something else. And then when the exam came, the parent was shocked about it wasn't an exam, the enrollment duties came. It was actually the opposite. So the parent actually physically worked on the boy because he's Kenyan. So the child went back to school and he reported that this is what happened. The next day, the social workers were at the parents' house and he was arrested for child abuse. We don't have such systems in this country, but we know that children are being forced to do things that they do not want to do. Now, I would say, first of all, it is every desire of every parent, and I want to know one who doesn't want to have his or her child become the top professional in this country. All of them, all the parents that you have here have that vision. And when they are doing that, they are doing that in good faith. They really want you to do that. The reason is these other auxiliary professions, the opportunities or the landscape to success is much more steep. So they want to give you a much more easier route to success. But that notwithstanding, parents need to take their time. We should not just wait until the end of the term to know whether your child is good and has deteriorated. You should be interacting and you should be able to understand what your potential is.
And if your child is good in dancing,
Yes.
or football,
Yes.
because CBC is coming with new curriculum just to identify children's talents. Would you allow your child to play football or basket? Or you will still insist on the academic?
Actually, this is what I'm saying, that those auxiliary professions are developed in other countries and they are developed in this country. And therefore, opportunities of success are much more limited. So you need to really balance. For example, I'll give you my personal example. When I finished my O-levels, I went and tried an interview, and I was taken out to work in an aviation industry. And I worked there for 1 year. When I got to understand the salaries in the aviation industry are very good, but the opportunities are what? Are very limited. Those years, actually, the pilots were on the wings. Even when you are trained black pilot, and the passengers get to know that you are the ones who are going to fly that plane, they will post so you fly alone, even though you have the experience. So in light of the opportunities that were available in the aviation industry, I changed my profession and of course, it was not a very popular decision, but it was based on my assessment.
Thank you. Allow now, I want, because of time, and parents are having gifts to give their children. Let them now ask all their questions. If you have something, you note so that we answer at once. Who is remaining the question? You are remaining? Okay. Fine. Now we list all the questions so that we can answer at once and we now go. I have 2 questions.
Us as humans, we have like not really a tendency, but it's something that just comes from within, and it makes us become attracted to the opposite sex. When it's, let's say, age of about 12, 13, when you enter teenage period, you want to be noticed when you ask the other gender, if it's a girl. I'm a girl, I want to be noticed as another gender. I want to have a boyfriend, not really a boyfriend, but a friend. And I can't tell the parents that you want something else that you have a boyfriend, but you want to have this friend. Yes.
A friend is a boy. A girl is a boy. A girl.
Now that you have celebrated 18, 19, 20, is it okay now to like have a boyfriend? That's a question.
At which age?
Maybe 18,
19, 20.
No,
Well,
let's be clear about the age because the answer is
18.
Ranging 18, 19, 20. Yeah.
18 and above.
Yeah.
18 and above.
Then the next question is, before, people used to, there were not this advanced makeup. People used to have this powder, they used to put on their faces, they used to have this eyeliner, and used to have the traditional one. It's even in the Bible, Jezebel brought the makeup and the jewelry to the people in the Bible. And we are usually told to go abide by the things that the Bible states. And makeup is in the Bible. But us as Seventh-day Adventists, we're not allowed. Okay, not really allowed, but if you come wearing makeup and jewelry, people look at you as if you're an outcast. And it's something that is given in the Bible. So my question is it wrong to apply makeup and to have jewelry in the Seventh-day Adventist faith?
Okay. And next question, you have a question? Okay. And mother is ready, makeups. And kuchora sana. Okay.
My last question is, what is healthy eating?
What is healthy eating? Okay. And next, this one.
My question is, how can I live like a person and live like Christ at the same time? How can I live like a person and live like Christ at the same time?
How can she live like a person at the same time live like Christ? Right. Okay. You have a question? Right. Tell me.
How can I live like Christ and when is Christ coming back?
How can I live like Christ? And when is Christ coming back? So, form of being Christ and coming. Okay. Those are the final questions. I think now you give comments you want to answer. And then now we call it the children ministry. And then we call the eldest one to round up in summary. So,
Okay. Let me go to the first question. It's asking about attraction to the opposite sex and at what age should someone have a boyfriend or girlfriend. So I don't know the question you asked about that the under age and 18, but you say that it's biologically proven that at the age of 12 and beyond, you start recognizing yourself and also recognizing the people around you as those of the opposite sex. So that is why it's very important to understand your body development, and you need to seek guidance in things that you don't understand. And this is where us as parents, we are very crucial at this age, because these children are going through body changes. Some of them they do not understand, and if you do not guide them properly, they may be misguided by the world. So at the age of 12, all the way to 18, we assume that those are still children. And the way they relate to the opposite sex would be that of just normal friendship. Which, when we use this term boyfriend, sometimes it's given different interpretations. You would have boyfriends or friends who are boys. But then again, you hear people talking about boyfriends when they are in a relationship, when they are dating. But at the age of 12 and 18, we don't expect you that you'll be dating or having boyfriend, girlfriend relationship that is based on, let's say, marriage based or sex based. You are still underage, and the Bible tells us in Isaiah 29:11 that I have good plans for you. Jeremiah 29. So if God has good plans for our future, God will not bring everything at the same time that at 14 is giving you this body development, giving you the education at that age, and then giving you into marriage at the same time. So there is time for everything. So that is why we regard you as our children. Actually, we see you as children and we always guide you as children. Relationship, that is not the type of relationships. Now she asked about 18 and above. So a well-guided child, from my point of view, if we have guided you all through from 0 to 18, you at 18 you are able to make judgment. You are able to stand firm and say, I'm not yet ready for that. So you don't look around and see your classmates have boyfriends, some have got marriages after Coco and say, oh, I can also do the same. So the way you've been brought up, you know what the plans God has for you, what you need to do at the right time, then you can decide on what relationships you need to engage on. Of course, after 18, you are able to get married legally, but do you do it in a way that is well guided?
Thank you. And very brief, because we need to finish. When is Christ coming back? Start from there.
When is Christ coming back? I think I'll combine it with the other one.
Yes.
How can you live? Sorry. How can you live like a person and Christ at the same time?
Yes.
I would just say that Christ died on the cross because we were all sinners. And being sinners, we cannot imagine or even try to do what is expected of us by our own ability. We are only